Good volume. Yeah. Okay.
One. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Audiacast. We finally
Mm.
figured out the name of this podcast.
Hmm.
No.
No,
He.
that's a
Okay.
great start already.
uh,
No, we don't. We barely have any
we
humor.
do have humor. Shut up. Okay.
No, no, we
So,
don't. That would have been good.
shut.
That would have been amazing.
Okay, fine. I'll keep it then. I'm recording.
Oh yeah. Wait, you are? Oh, okay. Good. All right.
Fucking
Let's.
idiot.
Well, yeah. I'm Andy, and Riley.
Uh, you know
Okay,
what?
then
No.
fine. Let's. Yeah.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Audiacast. We finally figured out the name of the podcast, and we're going to keep it
Yes.
like that forever. I'm Riley.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm Andy. I'm the dude.
Yep. And today, our
Yes.
conversation is going to be about lo-fi hip-hop, the state
Ah,
that it is
yes.
in. Uh,
24/7 beats to study slash chill slash game to. Headphone
well,
emoji.
and basically, we've already kind of talked about this like on our own time, but I think it would be an interesting thing to bring up in the podcast because there were some interesting conversation points.
Yeah.
And so I thought it would be cool to talk about in this medium. So, Andy,
Yes.
what do you what
Huh?
do you
What?
what do you think about lo-fi?
Ugh. Okay, so in my honest opinion about lo-fi is, I think it's, I think it's, I think it's too much of a laughing stock today. Honestly, I think it has potential, and I think that people treat it too much as a joke when there are actual like solid lo-fi albums and songs out there. So I don't know. Yeah, it's like I think it gets too bad of a rap, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow, that was a mic change.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Are
Uh,
you? Yeah.
yeah.
Is there something else you wanted me to say?
Well, no. Okay, so in my opinion, lo-fi is incredibly formulaic. I think that there's really only one way that you can make a lo-fi song without it being like not a lo-fi song, and like the genre is so young that I feel like it's kind of weird how like it's already kind of like faded out as a genre, and you've had the big guys like Jay Dilla and Nujabes who like pioneered the entire genre. Nujabes died in 2010, and Jay Dilla died in 2006. So the genre has already had its greats and its pioneers and the people who have started like the genre and have influenced many artists to go for that kind of same style, but they've already have gone. So I think it's a really interesting case study of how short-lived the genre can be. And like I say short-lived, I just feel like it's already kind of like run its course. I feel like the few artists that are out there that are making interesting lo-fi music are just squeezing the last few drops of it out until it's just completely dry. And it may go on for the next 10 years or so before it like finally fizzles out and no one really listens to it anymore. But just even now, it's just like it's holding on for dear life, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So how are we gonna lead into this? So, all right. So Riley,
Yes.
are there? What are your main gripes with lo-fi? Are there any more than the ones you just said?
Well, it's kind of all the same, and sure, it's aesthetically pleasing, and the goal that it's trying to achieve, which is kind of just background noise, it achieves that perfectly, but there's nothing really about it that makes me want to come back to it, unless you're talking about, like, people like Jay Dilla and, like, maybe some of Pot 2's stuff, because he's a pretty interesting artist, but, like, Jay Dilla, Donuts, even like a lot of MF Doom's work that he did with special herbs and spices, his instrumental work. There are some great cuts off of that I'd throw into a playlist, but I wouldn't do like modern lo-fi hip hop because it's all just dreary saxophone, dreary piano, vinyl distortion, and it's just all of this stuff and like like a sample at the beginning where it's like, "Oh, I'm feeling sad and depressed, and I don't like the way the life is going," and then it shifts into this extremely moody and spaced out beat that sounds like it came from some boombox playing in the rain during the 80s. It just, I
Mm.
don't, uh, I don't have a ton of liking towards the genre. But
No.
Andy, you are a lo-fi producer, and you feel like, uh,
I'm not too proud of that badge, but yeah, yeah.
so what do you think makes lo-fi interesting to make and interesting to follow?
Well, it's just like the number of artists out there that are actually like legitimately doing creative things and things that are new and expanding the genre are just like, well, the number may be scarce. They're the ones that are actually doing it are doing a fantastic job. I've already sent Riley some a few, actually no, a couple albums that are lo-fi albums that are actually really impressive to me, including works by Potsu and Elijah Hu. But I think Elijah Hu changed his name, right? Or
Oh,
at least
I
on
have no
SoundCloud.
idea.
He did on SoundCloud, but like not on Spotify or whatever. But it's to me, it's an interesting genre because while there are a lot of them, hmm, I think I think the potential of the genre hasn't fully been explored yet, to be honest. I think there's still a lot of things that can be done, and while the genre may just be kind of a stereotype right now, I feel like we could be doing a lot more with it, and it's always nice to experiment and hear different experiments of the genre and how it's just changing. And yeah, because lo-fi is often treated as just this, oh, I sad rain vinyl crackle minor chords upload, bleh, vomit. And well, that may be the majority of the songs made. There are a ton of like very upbeat, very jazzy, and very happy, and just like really just good mood lo-fi songs that are out there, and I think don't get enough love. But like Breakfast by Potsu, just a lot of them. Like the majority of the songs on the 20 something track off of that 20 something track Potsu album
Just
is a
friends.
fantastic example. Just Friends, yeah. That's, in my opinion, a fantastic example because there are so many on there that aren't just like, look, all of them, none of them are specifically just like dreary garbage, just like the same exact, just like wash, rinse, repeat movie dialogue sample, then some slow, just like low effort drum loop over a piano sample. It's none of that is in there. It's always just something new and something creative, and I think it really shows. And honestly, that's the artist that I think, that's the kind of motivation, not motivation, that's the kind of process that I think we don't see enough of in lo-fi. And if we get more artists that just like doing that, with hopefully will happen. I mean, at this point, I can only pray and dream. But honestly, if more people just keep experimenting and with what lo-fi can be considered, with what can be considered as lo-fi, then I think the genre could live for honestly like a legitimate like time, a legitimate amount of time. I don't
But
know if
you
that was a good explanation or not.
but you do know that the reason why people flock to lo-fi is to like get all their emotions out and their moods out because a lot of the people that are listening to it
I thought you
are
said that they were just looking for background music.
well, I mean that, but it's also like another reason why because it's a lot of the same aesthetic of, beats to study to, but another aspect of it is like the same reason why people flock to emo rap is because, oh, I'm an edgy teenager that doesn't know how to deal with his emotions. Why don't I let my music do it for me? And it's it's a lot of the same. And sure, there are artists out there who completely just defy this. Like I feel like Joji in his like earlier stuff, not the stuff he does now because it's mainly just R&B, but the way that he fused sort of R&B style vocals and sort of instrumentation, and combine that with the sample chopping and low fidelity of lo-fi hip hop, thought made for some great songs like "Rain on Me,"
Window.
"You Suck, Charlie," "Thom."
I don't want to waste my time. Well, that didn't have any samples on it, but
Yeah, I'd see that more as like
a
his
lot of
newer
his
stuff.
SoundCloud era stuff is truly like really great, and
And
the sample chopping was
also,
really impressive.
"You
He's
Suck,
talented.
Charlie" is better than Thom.
We've discussed this.
It
No, it isn't.
is. Yes, it
No, okay, we
is.
can discuss that at a later time, maybe later in this episode, since it's kind of lo-fi. But like, yeah,
Okay.
and
But yeah,
so
yeah. So you
yeah.
do know that a lot of the reason why people are going to lo-fi is to have their music sort out their emotions for them. So when someone who is a quote unquote fan of lo-fi and they hear something like Patsu or is extremely upbeat, they're not going to think of it as lo-fi, and therefore they're not going to listen to it, because what they want from lo-fi is incredibly dreary piano chords with a kind of lo-fi like downsampled drum loop for like a minute or two, and then it moves on to the next track. Um, and that's one of the main reasons why I feel like lo-fi is dying as a genre. It's because of the audience itself, and the reason why it's doing so popular is because the audience wants what it's giving them, and what
Mm.
the audience wants is incredibly formulaic and doesn't take a ton of effort to make, and it's just background noise, in my opinion. In the musical
Well, that's
landscape,
the entire purpose of the genre, though. You realize that, like, literally the whole purpose of the genre, this is what it's been meant for, and this is what it's been juiced out and milked for, is to literally just be background noise.
no, not necessarily, because like if you look back
Well,
on
that's
like,
one of the reasons I'm saying. Sorry, go on.
which yeah, it has its roots in like instrumental abstract hip hop music, with like MF Doom and J Dilla and Madlib, and I could go on for hours and hours about those guys because I love them to death, and I think that they're amazing. They were game changers at the time, especially Madlib and J Dilla. While MF Doom, I love his sonic texture. He doesn't really bring a ton to the table, but the samples that he finds are amazing. And but yeah, but it's just the audience is just wanting the same thing over and over again, so it doesn't really breed much, it doesn't leave much room for experimentation, because the genre and the audience has already decided what it wants from that genre, so anything deviating from the norm, it's not going to be as overlooked. And sure, there may be underground experimental
So wait,
lo-fi.
did you say it's not going to be as overlooked?
What?
You said it's not going to be as overlooked. Isn't that just like contradicting your
No,
entire
no, no,
point?
okay. It's not going to be as like it's not going to be as popular, but like maybe a year or two from now, people are going to be releasing experimental underground lo-fi albums,
Oh
um,
yeah, I'd love to see the day, dude.
where they just completely deviate from the norm. And I'm sure that there's going to be an audience, but I don't see that being the next wave of lo-fi, is experimental underground lo-fi. So yeah, that's why I think that the genre is kind of just fading out. Even at its cultural relevance with the internet, I feel like the genre itself, like not the relevance and the grasp that it has on pop culture and media, but just its quality and creativity and originality. It's dying, in my opinion, and it's dying fast.
Mm. Well, I don't really consider it's dying since. Well, wait, did you say the creativity in the mainstream version of lo-fi, or just lo-fi in general as a genre as a
Mainstream,
whole?
mainstream.
Mainstream lo-fi. Okay, well, I kind of agree with that. Actually, no. Well, it's not really dying. I would just say that it's in the same state. Like, it's ever since lo-fi, that's kind of been the thing. Because ever since I'm Closing My Eyes and 17 came out, it's always been like, that's the bar, and we're just gonna do that because why do anything else? And that's essentially the norm, because a lot I'm gonna be honest, I'm a huge lo-fi fan, and even I can admit that a lot of the artists, or not a lot of the artists, but a lot of the songs out there aren't very good, because like it's just all the same thing. and I'm just I'm just hoping that like, and I think the outliers like the Elijah Hu album and the Patsu album aren't like old at all. Like the Elijah Hu album was released last year, and the Patsu album released like just this year. So and they're on Spotify and they're fantastic. And if I'm imagining that since Patsu and Elijah Hu are some of the most well-known lo-fi artists like in the stream, besides like Eerie, just for that one-hit wonder, her, and like that, like the girl
Silo.
who I haven't met. Yeah, well, Shiloh isn't a lo-fi artist by himself. He's just a sample. He's just a sample cow, essentially. But
He hoards himself out for samples.
yeah, no, other people are whoring him out for samples.
Yeah, but come on. I feel like Shiloh was on I'm Closing My Eyes,
Shiloh.
and
Is it Shiloh or Shiloh?
I always thought it was Shiloh.
I think it's Shiloh. I don't know, but like, yeah.
But yeah, like I don't
keep
think.
Going, I'm sorry.
I think Shiloh gave him that sample of him just playing his guitar, like recorded on an iPhone.
No, those were all like on Instagram and Snapchat. All of those source videos are just like videos of him playing guitar and singing on the Instagram and Snapchat. They were literally just snatched.
Okay, but how did you get like the studio version when the beat kicks in? Like that was not recorded on an iPhone.
Huh?
When the beat comes in, it switches to a much more polished like version of that.
I think it's just like either effects. No, it's like the same. Well, in the X song or the actual instrumental?
The actual.
Like by itself, unedited?
I'm Closing My Eyes.
I'm Closing My Eyes. Hold on, I need to re-listen to that. I don't remember it being polished. Hold on. I remember it just being the same thing, but let me just re-listen to the drop. Hold on.
I've been pretty crazy.
No, huh? Wow, that is okay. That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's really weird. Either it's just like really weird audio mixing, or maybe the original sample is like that's the original sample, and the original like the before the drop is literally just like smothered in isotope vinyl.
I doubt it. That sounds like it was recorded on an iPhone.
Yeah. Well, nonetheless, the point I'm trying to make is I'm sensing a trend. And I don't know how fast of a trend it is, but I'm noticing that a lot of lo-fi, or at least a lot of recent lo-fi, like at least this year to me, with the new Patsu album and the new Elijah Hu stuff and all that, it's just like it's branching out. And it's not, and by branching out, I don't mean branching out into like other genres. I mean branching out into it's not the same thing anymore. We're doing different stuff. We're being original now. At least some of them. I'm not saying all of them, because in my opinion, the source of this problem, or at least one of the sources of this problem, is the whole 24/7 lo-fi hip-hop beat streams. I'm honestly happy those are memes, because they just suck. To be honest, they promote unoriginal, overused, just like wash, rinse, repeat assembly line lo-fi that we've all seen before, and that every song sounds the same. They barely change up the sample that they use. It just all sounds identical, and you could like exchange one for another and not tell a single difference. And that's all promoted by those lo-fi 24/7 streams, because that's all they do. They just gather just a ton of songs off SoundCloud that all sound the same, compile them into one stupid live stream, and then just like rake in the money and the views.
Yeah, because that's what sells. That type of lo-fi is what sells. The incredibly, yeah. So
exactly.
Okay, so another thing with like Patsu and all that stuff, they're talking about, oh, they have great albums and they're great artists. Do you think the average lo-fi fan is going to have the attention span to listen to a 42-minute album?
42. Oh, it's 42 minutes.
It's like around that. It's like 20. It's 20 songs long.
It's 23. 23. Yeah, but like, and then again, the majority of the songs are like a minute and less, 2 minutes and less.
Some of them are 3.
Some of them are 3, but then again, not all.
Yeah, but still 2. So it's like, yeah, it's like a 40-minute album, give or take. Do you think an average lo-fi fan is going to listen to the same artist that is usually going to have the same sonic texture and style over a
It's not
40-minute
necessarily.
period.
Then again, it's not necessarily the same sonic texture. There are very dreary and sad songs
Yeah,
out there, but I'm
well,
just saying that they're not the same kind of sad that's seen in literally every lo-fi song on those live streams.
yeah, and I'm not saying that there aren't cliffs and valleys within the emotional context, but it I don't think that an average lo-fi fan, which is usually a teenager around 13 to 16, is going to sit down and listen to like an album that is probably it's not what they're used to, and like a lot of people that age haven't come around to listening to full albums in one sitting yet, which I think is kind of sad because some of the best musical experience I've ever had have come from sitting down and listening through an entire album in one sitting. Um,
Mm.
and so yeah, while they may be great artists, I don't think that their album stuff is going to gain traction anytime soon. That and I wanted to bring up uh, I
Hmm?
think that a lot of people are going to gravitate towards like coming off of the album thing. A lot of people are going to like lo-fi fans are going to gravitate towards single based artist because they can upload whenever they want, they can upload consistently, and like they're going to rake in the listens. But with an album artist, like it's like one album and then like a year silence with a couple of singles and then just a huge dump of content. While with people aren't going to stay subscribed to you if there isn't much constant content being cast out from your sort of side of the internet. So I feel like the more single based artists, the ones that are featured on the lo-fi channels that just have quick 1 to 2 minute songs and then they release another one the next day. I feel like those artists are going to have a lot more longevity, even though they're not good for the genre, and they're incredibly just unoriginal and not very interesting to listen to at all. So that's the sad thing about lo-fi. It's a genre that's killing itself. I'll say that much. For all the edgy jokes that are
That's
made with
ironic.
lo-fi, yeah, with all the edgy jokes that are made with lo-fi, lo-fi is the genre that is killing itself with
Haha,
with the
nice.
with the audience and the things that it finds popular and how it doesn't have much room for experimentation. Yeah, I think lo-fi is killing itself.
Okay, so the what you said um about people gravitating towards artists that are kind of bad for the genre and just doing what they can just because they want to make mediocre music and have views and plays. I kind of disagree with that because then again the artists aren't getting any revenue or actual like legitimate plays from the streams, right?
But the other thing is that if someone listens to
No one's gonna
something,
go to their SoundCloud. Listen, like I know that you're saying that the average lo-fi hip hop fan has the attention span of a goldfish, but they're not gonna go to their actual SoundCloud because most of them are just one-hit wonders. You see one artist in a 24/7 lo-fi stream. Guarantee, go into one right now. You see one artist, then like stay there for an entire hour. You're not gonna see that artist again.
okay, but the other thing is that if you are an avid listener of these lo-fi streams, if you hear a song that you like, it's just going to be lost to the wind and you're never going to hear it again. Wouldn't you start a playlist for the songs from that station that you like?
Yeah.
And so
Well,
that's the other thing is that they find, they get some sort of success off of the streams, even though they're just reaping their benefits. The people running the streams, because they're the ones, that get all of the stream donations, because that's just retarded. And like all of this brand sponsorship, because it's, there are ads plastered all over the thing. So like if you get one song on there that somebody likes, they will add that song to a playlist of theirs or something like that, and then maybe they will start to gradually, gain more, trust from you, and so they'll follow you more and they'll listen to more of your music.
Hmm. Well, in that case, then if they end up following a specific artist, then wouldn't they be driven to listen to one of their albums, or at least like a significant part of it? I feel like you're contradicting some of your points, or maybe you aren't, and I'm just
Nope.
overanalyzing the whole thing.
No, I
But
don't think I
what
am.
I'm trying to say is, if they're gonna follow an artist, if they listen to an artist enough, they appreciate what they're doing, they appreciate their stuff, and they like it enough to listen to it on a regular basis, and a basis that's big enough for them to actually drive to listen to them more, then I think that's going to be something where they're driven to listen to at least a compilation of tracks, whether it's not a specific, like an actual official album or anything, or maybe it is. Because then again, I think, hmm, I don't know. I hope the genre doesn't die, and I'm trying my best to give my arguments. Honestly, I think the genre. I'm just trying to say that the genre deserves. There are a ton of artists that are just like essentially just awful, just like mediocre songs and producers and like just like low effort sampling. I think there are amazing artists and albums out there, and they're by no means outliers, and they're by no means unseen or unrecognized. In fact, Patsu is, I know I've said this like a bajillion times before in this podcast, or at least this episode, but Patsu is one of, if not the most well-known lo-fi artist. And
Because X
because
stole the instrumental to that one song. That's the only
no, he
reason why
produced
he's popular.
he produced 4X. It was
I,
like specifically for
I
X.
thought there were like rumors coming out about how X just stole the instrumental.
Did he? Well, someone told me that like he actually produced 4X and released the instrumental after the album was released.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm wrong. But what was I gonna
Well, I
say?
have
Oh
to check
yeah,
the dates on that.
yeah.
But yeah,
So
yeah. Let me do that right now. When did 17 release?
all right. So the thing that I was going to say is that like take any popular artist today, for example, like say they're not really popular anymore, but the Black Eyed Peas, their singles are very strong. Does that mean that you'd want to go and listen to their album if you just enjoy them casually? I'm not talking about like avid listenership, if that's even a word, but just but
Listenership.
just like a casual following of this one artist. So like you might see an album of theirs, but you might find it daunting because there might not be as many tracks that you like, but you know that their singles are incredibly strong. So I would gravitate more towards the singles rather than, listen to an album of an artist that I just kind of casually like.
Singles are just individual songs. If a ton of songs are released at one time, then the average person is gonna want to listen to them all.
No, I'm talking about like albums that have already been released. So like say someone follows Patsu now and they see Just Friends. It hasn't
Yeah.
just released. It released a couple of months ago, but they might find that a little bit daunting,
Then
like
again, still that's more content, and they don't have to release, and they don't have to watch it all. They could just like literally go to their Spotify page and just like click whatever. I don't know, but
yeah.
like, and while they may not listen to the entire album, there's still shuffle play. There's still clicking on individual songs. There's still a ton of options. You don't have to listen to the entire album. It's just a manner of listening to whatever songs you want to.
Yeah, but I'm saying that like if you go to okay, so like an example again, the Black Eyed Peas, and you shuffle through like I don't know, what's an album from the Black Eyed Peas?
No idea. Wait, Black Eyed Peas albums. Uh, the beginning.
Yeah, okay, so say you go to the beginning and you shuffle through
Yeah.
that and you hear a song that is absolutely terrible and you hate it. Like there are going to be, parts where, if you're following an artist and you shuffle through their music and you hear a song that you don't really like as much as their stuff, that you might not really gravitate towards them as much. So if you like an artist, then why wouldn't you just stick to their stronger stuff, especially when you're just listening to them casually? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if an artist is good about what they choose to be their singles, then it should be some of their best songs. So, like that's what I was trying to get at. I'm not saying that, some people won't shuffle play an album just to see what's on it or, not listen to the whole thing. But if like a casual follower of an artist, I don't think is gonna, listen or really even shuffle play. I think they'll stick to the singles. And like that's what I was trying to get at.
Mm. Okay, well, how about we not move on to the album segment just yet, but move on to like a specific artist in lo-fi.
I want
Not
to talk about You Suck Charlie versus Thom, cause you're
okay.
wrong.
Yeah, let's do it. Look, I'm designing the thumbnail right now, and I already put Chloe Burbeck in there. Let's do it. All right, let's go. Let's go right now.
You are
Okay.
wrong.
So
You Suck Charlie is
welcome to
better
the
than Thom.
welcome to the literally. All right, hello. Welcome to the number one, like probably never gonna do this again, or maybe we will segment.
We can have a
It's
debate
called
segment.
the debate segment, TM trademark. So right now the debate is Thom versus You Suck Charlie. I'm on the side
Suck
that Thom
Charlie
versus
is
Thom
better.
is better, and Riley's on the side that You Suck Charlie is better. All right, so let's go right now.
You Suck
Go.
Charlie is better. The sample chopping is pretty good, actually. Like towards the end, when the sample just gets completely like just chopped up, and like it's something that you can dance to. It's something that you can groove to. It's just like baby, and a little bit stronger. And his vocals are so.
That's a really good Joji impression.
And his vocals are so. They're just so like just. They feel like something that you can like sing in the shower or just kind of like mumble to yourself on the way to school or walking home. It's something that you can just like hop into and you can just have fun with it for like 2 minutes. And that's the thing with like with Thom, you kind of have to get like invested with it. It's a longer song. I think it's like twice as long. The there are more difficult vocal passages. And, well, sure, it may be more emotionally complex or, sonically complex. I still feel like You Suck Charlie is a banger, and it is absolutely amazing. And I think that it's just something that you can dance to, especially that incredibly tight percussion by Joji himself, with like him breathing with like, like and the snaps. It's so danceable. Every time I hear it, it just makes me want to just groove and start mumbling to myself out of pitch. I love You Suck Charlie to death, whereas with Thom, it's a lot more, get ready for a roller coaster of emotion.
Yeah.
Whoa, baby.
So the reason I'm a fan of Thom, I'm just gonna call it Thom because that's easier to say than Thom, or at least it rolls off the tongue better in my opinion. But okay, so you do realize that it was implemented into the EP that he released, right?
Yeah. Even though I
Like,
haven't listened to the rest of it.
If you listen to Pills, right, the second track after the EP, right after Thom, the transition is almost seamless. It's a very good flow into it. It feels like it's part of the song, but it feels like it's a really really weird, more mellow, even more like weird and somber and almost like angry, just like a ballad. And well, not exactly a ballad, but still. Well, I'm talking about Pills now rather than Thom.
Yeah, and I was about to say, wouldn't that be something that could go for Pills rather than Thom?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm getting off track. Sorry.
Yes,
but,
you are. Keep your argument consistent, Andy.
So okay. So jeez. Okay.
It's a debate segment.
I like Thom
there are no rules. Come on, Andy.
Okay. So the reason I like Thom so much is because I feel like there's way more emotion put into it. And while the lyrics aren't as complex and half the song is literally just saying like speak to me and don't run away, or please don't run away, the rap segment at the beginning, while short-lived, it's more driven. The song as a whole is way more rap driven than You Suck Charlie, which is honestly a nice change because while Jody has said before that I'm not a rapper, I just did Pink Eye because I like to mess around.
And I'm
not really like an avid rapper, and I can understand that.
I can understand why. It's because Joji sounds incredibly awkward in my opinion when he raps, and for me that is a huge turnoff for Thom's defense. Because that rap intro in the beginning is like the pitter patter, and he just sounds so amateurish and awkward. It's just I don't like it. And he's not going super bombastic and witty and just over the top with Pink Eye, because the thing about Pink Eye is that that's what makes it enjoyable. So his kind of like amateurish delivery really helps, because he can like do certain vocal inflections and like create characters, and it's like a ton of fun like that. But within the confines of Joji, he kind of has to be, himself, and I don't think that that works in Tom's favor. And I always thought that to be a pretty big turnoff for Tom is just that one rap in one rap intro.
Hmm.
But with You Suck
Well,
Charlie, there is no filler. You just get right to the beats, baby. A little
okay,
bit
so okay,
stronger.
okay, so I really like how very simple the piano is in both tracks, but I feel like in Tom it's a much more mellow, it's a much more silky melody. And while You Suck Charlie's kind of almost rough and abrupt, but yet still very happy and upbeat piano sample
Oh,
chopping is
I
a very
love.
refresh. Okay, can I talk?
Yeah.
So while the rougher sampling in You Suck Charlie is incredible, I don't feel like the sampling, or at least the piano work in Tom, should be outcasted, because it's still very mellow, very silky. It's something that you can definitely like get behind. Like, look at this. Like, hold on. I have my piano right next to me. Oh my god, that's loud. Okay. What?
Might want to turn it up.
Yeah. So it's just like really weird. I don't know if you can hear the piano or heard the piano that I just
Yeah, I
played,
can hear
but
that.
like yeah, it's just like it's really weird, but like you can get behind it, and like it's silky and it's refreshing. And I know I've said that word a lot at this point, but it's honestly really nice, and it's honestly a very good introduction into where the vocals kick in, or where the drums kick in. It's very nice. It's like something smooth, something mellow, and then once the rap part ends, it goes into this chime and like really weird shaker kind of like maneuver. And honestly, it's a also very nice intro into the Ariana Grande sample, and then the second, like the B section of the track. And it's just like, it's so, hmm, how do I say this? There's like a word I'm looking for. There's a word I'm looking for. I don't like, it's not melancholic. That's not the word I'm looking for. It's, mm, no.
Dreary.
Dreary, no. No. Well, it is, but like that's not the specific word I'm looking for. No, I'd say okay. Um, what is it? I don't know, but like it's honestly very nice, and I think that the emotion and the effort. Well, not to say that there's not effort put into both tracks, but like I honestly think it's a much strong basis is built on how iconic it is in the community, how it's often treated as the best Joji track to date, at least in the Pink Omega subreddit and the Discord and whatever. But yeah, I just think it's way stronger of a song based on the melodies and how smooth it is and how amazing the transition from the A section to the B section, and how smooth the transition is from that into Pills, which is a completely separate song. And yeah, I just feel like it's way better. It's way stronger. Not its sonic texture mainly, but because of the sheer emotion, or not the sheer emotion, but the sheer emotion that's not put into the song, but like that's just like almost seeping out of the song. It's not the emotion and effort that was put into it, it's the emotion that comes out of it. You know what I'm saying? If that even makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to the sample chopping. I think the choppiness of the sampling on You Suck Charlie adds just so much character to the track, in my opinion. Because when I hear that, I think of acts like MF Doom, and like I keep on mentioning these guys, but they're so prominent in this type of this type of music and this type of style. So MF Doom and J Dilla, where they would load the sample onto their MPCs which if you don't know, it's like this kind of drum
Yeah,
machine.
yeah,
No, and so they'd play it, and you could hear it in their stuff, and they'd usually turn off like quantization, which would basically make it more in sync. And so
yeah.
like
I
if
saw the
you
Vox video. I saw the
yeah,
Vox video.
and if you if you go back and listen to some of his stuff, especially some of the instrumental cuts off of "Take Me to Your Leader" by King Ghidorah, you can definitely hear like these very sort of homemade type beats, and you can almost picture MF Doom just hitting these drums and like playing along with the sample. And with "You Suck, Charlie," when the sample just gets completely chopped up, like in the second half of the song, it reminds me of MF Doom and Jay Dilla, where they would just take their MPC and just use it as an instrument itself. And so I really love their production style. So maybe that's just me. Maybe the choppiness of the piano is a turn off for some people, but I think that's one of the defining parts about it. And another thing about "You Suck, Charlie" is that you can pick it up at any time. If you're feeling happy, it's just danceable and upbeat enough to you can dance to it in your car. But if you're kind of going through like some downtime, you can also put it on because it's just dreary and melancholic enough that you can kind of just sort of mellow out to it as well, and just sort of let
Yeah.
your emotions run through you. It's a song that you can pick up at any time, and I absolutely love that about it. And
Mhm.
it's just with Thom, I don't think you can pick up Thom at almost any point in time. I think you kind of have to be in a certain mood. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you find that to be different for you, Andy. But I don't know. I find "You Suck, Charlie" to be the just like you can pick it up at any time, and that's one of the main reasons why I love it so much. And also, it's incredibly catchy. With
Mhm.
these like repeated vocal melodies of just this, like Joji's talking to this girl, and he's just like, "Can you be a little bit stronger? Because then I'll need you to be here a little bit longer." And like, "I'm sorry, I never see you. I never see you." And then, it's something that we can kind of, it's relatable as well. And so like it's like the melody itself is upbeat enough so that like again you can dance to it and kind of groove to it, but like also the lyrics, it's about kind of this breakup or this relationship not going so well, and it's on the rocks, and people can relate to that and have emotions for that, where you know Thom, the melodies may be more complex and the sampling may be better, but I don't know. I love "You Suck, Charlie" for what it is, and I feel like it's at a nice tight 2 minutes, and it doesn't have any awkward rap intros. So that's my take on "You Suck, Charlie." Any closing words to this debate? Because I feel like we've talked about this enough.
Well, no, I think that's good. How are we gonna like? Is there gonna be a winner to this?
We will let the comments decide.
If any? Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's move on to the album
All
segment.
right, so the album we are going to be talking about today was recommended by Andy last episode.
Yo.
Taiga by Kubbi.
Yeah, I think that's the official pronunciation of his name. But yeah, that's the album, and it's good. It's pretty good. All right,
So,
so Riley, since you haven't listened to the album yet,
all
and
right.
I introduced it to you, you listened to it this morning.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what did you think of it? I want to know your opinion. I've been waiting
I
for you to
I
say.
thought that it was pretty good. I thought that it was I don't know. I kind of have a little bit of a mixed opinion about it. So,
Okay.
to start off, the synths in this are beautiful.
Hmm.
Kubbi. Sorry, I really want to say Cubby because that's what I see.
Yeah. Wait, how
Kubbi.
to pronounce Kubbi? I'm gonna Google that
Uh,
real quick. Sorry.
Kubbi. He is able to make these synth patches that are incredibly atmospheric, but he can also make synth patches that are incredibly like they add this sort of intensity to the song. Um, like on the song, I think it's like Spirit Dancer.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. Spirit Dancer. That's the name. That's the first single from the album, actually.
Yeah, and so and it just has these
Oh,
really
apparently he doesn't care how do you pronounce Kubi. He doesn't know. Oh, sorry, keep going on.
okay, so I'm gonna just say Kubby. Okay,
All
so
right.
and he takes these these incredibly like swirling synths, and it feels like you're dancing to this sort of tribal ritual. Another thing that I really love is that this album is amazing at setting the tone
Yep.
with it just sounds like you're in the taiga, everything's snowy and white, and just all of these animals that are around you and the trees. You're in just this dense snowy forest, and it's like you don't know how to get out and you're just kind of stuck there, so you decide to go explore the forest, almost as if you wake up in the forest, like with the song "Wake," and then you just kind of go from there. And I especially, like with tone and like theme setting, Prey is, I feel, amazing at doing this because it sounds nocturnal. It sounds like you're in the night. Either you're hunting for prey and you're kind of like running after it, or someone or something is hunting you as prey, which I kind of take that to be it, that something is hunting you, because I feel like with the song Hunter, then that's when you're going out and hunting for food. But with prey, it sounds like something's after you, or you're like in a chase scene or something like that, and it's like a chase scene at night, and you can't really see anything, and you're just running and trying to get away from this thing. Um, so yeah, it's incredibly atmospheric. It sets a great tone and setting throughout the entire album. I think it's great. The only really problem that I have with it, and one thing that I want to bring up, it sounds like something that the Pegboard Nerds would release, if you know them. It sounds like something that the Pegboard Nerds would release
I've
back
heard of
in
them, but I've
like
never actually listened to them.
back
I've
in
never
like
listened to them.
2013 to 2016 or 2015. So like in that time, it sounds like something that they would release with incredibly, like sounds that sound like they were inspired by consoles from the 80s and 90s, but have a sort of modern twist on them.
Mhm.
And so I found it to be kind of relatable to the EDM mainstream of that time, and it sounds like something that could definitely have been released on like the Monster Cat label during that time, like maybe in 2015. The one problem that I have with the album is really the song Hunter. It's my
Mhm.
least favorite song on the album, and it's really just because of the singer on the album, because it really does fit that sort of. I think it's the most underwhelming and kind of mainstream and just like uninteresting song on the album, because you have this, kind of danceable EDM, song, and then you have just this above average singer that just soars over the track. And just songs like that, I don't really find anything to have super memorable with them. Like, it can be done well sometimes, like with songs like Let Go featuring Grabbits by Deadmau5. I feel like Grabbits' vocal contribution on that is really nice because it doesn't sound like anything that you would normally find on like something that would fit that sort of stereotype with the singer that just soars above the EDM track, because it's kind of like laid back, and while the lyrics are generic, like "Oh, I'll never let go of you," um, uh, but I just think like the range that he sings in is lower than most, so it feels a lot more like laid back, and it feels more with the track. And not only that, but the amazing production by Deadmau5 when it goes into like the electronic verse section when the electronics take over. So I think it can be done well, that sort of style of EDM song, but I didn't care for it on this album. So yeah, those are my overall thoughts on the album.
Mm. Okay. Do you have a favorite track? It's Spirit
Favorite
Dancer, right? Or is there any other?
favorite track. I really liked Wake. It probably Wake, Spirit Dancer, and Pray would be my
Mm.
favorite.
Yeah. All right.
So what are your thoughts on the album, Andy? What do you think
I
about it?
honestly, I've listened to almost all of Kubi's discography, and I have to say, I was even I had high hopes for this album once I heard Spirit Dancer and Antlers, the two singles off this album, and I have to say, I my hopes were absolutely like the bar was set at like 5 meters, and little did I know that Kubi could fly because my hopes he went like way above the bar. I was trying to make a really cool analogy. But yeah, this album is really good in my opinion. I've listened to almost all of Kubi's discography, and this still holds up even like months after as his most thematic and most tonal and fantastically atmospheric album yet. Like even Ember, I know Ember, his 2015 album, is often treated as like his best work, and it has the same number of tracks and almost the same runtime, but honestly, I think Taiga is just so stronger at setting the tone. Like you said, it's stronger in general, and its atmospheric capabilities are just off the charts. Retrospect is the intro track, and that's just like incredible. It's just like it's exactly what the name says. It's a fantastic intro track because it just like it eases you into it, but then
It
it just
sets the tone for the whole album.
it sets the tone. Sets the tone for the entire album. And honestly, if I think if I had to have a least favorite track, it might be Plume. I don't know what it is about it. I just it just kind of alters a bit for me. Well, it is a great song. I don't know. In my opinion, it was the weakest on the album. Resurgence, or not Resurgence, Hunter being a bit of a close, but all the other tracks are very strong. If I had to pick a favorite, it would either be Antlers or Spirit Dancer or Resurgence.
Mm.
Probably Antlers. Probably Antlers, to be honest. I feel like it tries to do something that Plume did as well, but does it so much more brilliantly and silkily. Is that a word? Well,
Silky.
like silky, but like in the past tense.
I think it's just silky.
Okay, it just does so much more. It just does it so much. Well, not the past tense, but it does it so much more silky and so much more just like smoothly. It's just like a river, and it's fantastic. And I honestly think it's the best song in the album, just like miles ahead. Um, but yeah, I feel like if you like this album, then I honestly recommend like listening to Ember, especially his 2015 album, because while it's like a bit less on the tonal side, it makes up for it because it has some definite jams on there. The EP he released, Gas Powered, is also pretty good, which has Up in My Jam, which I think still holds up as one of Kubi's best songs because it's just like amazing. And Seahorse Dreams on that EP is also incredible. But just like really all of Kubi's discography is incredible, and Taiga is, I think it's his best album, like to date.
Mm.
Yeah.
What would
Also,
you
Sleet was his 2012 album, and that's pretty good too. Not his best though. Go ahead. Sorry.
what would you give this out of 10?
Ah, yes, we're starting the owl. We're starting that now. I would honestly give this an 8. I used to give it a 9, but since then I've come to kind of like realize a bit of the flaws with tracks like Plume and Hunter. So I would probably give it an 8. It's a definite like strong. It's closer to a 9 than a 7. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. It's an
I
8, but it's not like it's straight in the middle. Yeah.
Yeah,
So what would you give
and
it?
I think I'd give it a 7 out of 10.
All right. Which one is it closer to, 6 or 8, or is it just right in the middle as a
I
7?
think I think it's like a decent to strong 7, but more on the decent side.
All right.
It's closer to an 8 than a 6, but really the song Hunter was just for me a huge turnoff because up until that point it was incredibly refreshing. It was atmospheric. It was just all that great stuff, and then it caved into that EDM trend that so many talented and incredible producers now that have just completely just given up their sort of style that made them good in the first place. Like what I mentioned back before I was talking, pegboard nerds. Like I just listened to a song that they did with Knife Party, which sounds like, for those of you that follow EDM, pegboard nerds and Knife Party, two of the most potent and interesting and creative like duos out there collabing. Sounds amazing, but it just, when I first listened to it, it had all the same EDM trends. And eventually I do want to talk about the current state of EDM and like Monster Cat, and how like the quality of EDM from it being the zeitgeist of like 2011 to 2015, and then just at the state where it is now, where not a ton of people follow it. I do want to talk about that eventually, but I do not know.
Yeah, you gotta tell me. You gotta tell me when we're doing that. I know nothing about that. I gotta read up on that.
Yeah.
Or listen up on that. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't think we have any questions.
No, we do not. No, we don't.
Not have any questions.
We received like 3 comments.
Yeah,
3 that weren't from me.
One of them saying, "Oh, do Kitsy Ghost and the Great Adventures of Slick Rick." Okay, so
Julian.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, album of next episode. I chose the last one, so you're gonna choose the next one.
Yeah.
What is the album of episode 3, Riley?
It is going to be.
You haven't thought about this, have you?
Well, I've got 3 albums that I have in mind.
Okay, what are they? What are they?
Wait, pick one. Pick 1, 2, or 3.
3.
Okay, so the album that we are going to be talking about next week is going to be. Well, next week, next episode. I'm sorry.
Yeah, there is no real schedule to this.
Is going to be.
Yeah.
I Love the Blues, She Heard My Cry by George Duke. It is an incredible and textured synth-funk album that I cannot wait to talk about, because there's so many good performances and production that it's honestly one of my favorite it's one of my favorite funk albums that I've listened to in a very long time, and I've listened to some great funk albums recently. So, I think that does it for this episode of Audiacast.
How am I going to fit that on the sidebar of the thumbnail? I don't know. Find out next episode.
Alright. Goodbye, everybody. Hope you had a fun time listening, and be sure to stay tuned for the next episode. Bye.
Yeah, this was way longer than our first one. Bye.